Before we begin, make sure you're alone. Close your eyes. Listen to the rain. Because every story has a heartbeat, and some refuse to stop. You're listening to Bloody Chapter. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories that haunt the mind long after the sound fades. Tonight's story: The Last Laugh, where love checks in, but never leaves. Emily Morgan had always felt like a shadow among the bright faces of Crestwood University. The campus, sprawling and historic, was full of whispered stories, legends, and rumors that traveled like ghosts between classrooms and dormitories. Most nights, it seemed the campus had a life of its own, breathing, shifting, holding secrets in its old walls. Rain had begun to fall steadily that evening, soft at first, then heavier, drumming against the windows of the library. Emily sat tucked into her usual corner, a pile of books at her side, and a notebook open in front of her. She tried to focus on her literature assignments, but the sound of water slipping down stone walls, the occasional squeak of the old library floorboards, and the distant echo of her own footsteps made concentration nearly impossible. She had been warned about the pranksters, 3 seniors whose reputation had stretched across campus like a shadow no one wanted to face. They were clever, bold, and their pranks often left a mark that lingered longer than any joke should. Emily initially dismissed the warnings. She wasn't the type to attract trouble, but as she turned a page in her book, she noticed the shadows twisting unnaturally in the corners of the room. The rain outside had intensified, each drop echoing against the windows in rhythm with her heartbeat. A soft, almost imperceptible laughter drifted through the hallways, too distant to be anyone on her floor. Emily paused, unsure if she had imagined it. Shaking her head, she returned to her notes, convincing herself that university life was all about stress and sleepless nights, not whispers and shadows. Her phone buzzed in her bag. A message appeared from an unknown number. "Why are you alone?" Emily's pulse quickened. The library felt colder, the flickering lights casting strange angles on the walls. She tried to ignore it, telling herself it was just a prank. Yet, the shadows in the corner seemed to stretch toward her, almost like fingers reaching across the room. The laughter returned, curling around the corners of the bookshelves. Emily's stomach tightened. She felt watched, hunted, a visitor in her own campus. As she stepped onto the rain-soaked campus, Emily noticed the puddles reflecting the towering Gothic buildings. The rain blurred familiar edges, turning corridors, dorms, and courtyards into distorted shapes. Every corner seemed to hide someone, or something. Her coat clung to her like a second skin, chills running down her spine. A sudden voice called her name, soft, playful, and yet sinister. Emily froze, her breath catching. "Hello," she called, trembling. No reply. Only the echo of her voice returned, warped and mocking. The laughter followed her closer. She spun again. Nothing. Rain and shadow were the only companions. Emily's mind raced, replaying every campus legend she'd ever heard about the pranksters. Each tale ended with fear, embarrassment, or chaos, but this felt different. Personal. Calculated. Her phone buzzed again. "You can't hide from us." A chill ran through her. She sprinted, slipping in mud, coat soaked, boots clattering. Hallways warped, familiar staircases felt unfamiliar, and the campus's oldest dorms looked like abandoned fortresses. Her pulse raced with every flickering light. Over the following days, tension escalated. Books vanished. Notes appeared on her desk with cryptic, taunting messages. Doors she was sure were locked were found ajar. Shadows moved against the walls where no one should have been. Even her friends noticed her nervous glances but dismissed them as stress. Emily knew better. The campus itself seemed alive, observing, testing her. One evening, Emily stayed late in the library to finish her assignments. The old painting of the university founder hung above the fireplace, eyes seeming to follow her. Lightning flashed, illuminating the dark corners of the room. Then she heard it, a soft giggle behind the shelves. Sliding across the floor came a note. "You can't stay forever, Emily." The childish tone didn't lessen the threat. The intention was unmistakable. Her fear shifted from imagined to immediate, tangible. She left the library, moving cautiously through rain-slicked corridors. Shadows twisted unnaturally, hallways lengthened as if the campus itself were reshaping to trap her. That night, Emily caught a glimpse of the pranksters. 3 silhouettes moved in the distance, grinning. Their laughter was predatory. Her first encounter ended in panic, crashing through chairs, slipping on the wet floors, and barely escaping their reach. By midnight, Emily found herself trapped near the old clock tower. Rain pounded relentlessly, lightning illuminating the Gothic spires. A spiral staircase loomed, narrow, slick with rainwater. Every step could betray her. The pranksters followed, their laughter echoing through the tower. Emily realized this was no longer a game of fear, it was psychological domination. The balcony at the top stretched over the campus like a stage. The pranksters' distorted smiles glistened in the lightning. Emily knew she had to act, to turn the fear into opportunity. She shouted, "You think this scares me?" The laughter paused, then returned, louder and hungrier. Emily leapt from the balcony, landing hard on stone. Pain shot up her legs, but adrenaline propelled her forward into the trees. One figure, hesitant, lagged. Not all were fully cruel. She noticed the hesitation and knew it could save her. Emily led the chase to the abandoned greenhouse. Broken glass crunched underfoot, puddles reflecting the storm. Shadows danced across walls, creating phantom figures. Her grip tightened on a metal rod. "You don't have to follow them," she shouted to the hesitant figure. The figure froze. Lightning illuminated indecision, a flicker of humanity in the chaos. Emily swung the rod, forcing a gap, and together they fled into the storm, rain masking their escape. Every corridor, every twisting path was now a potential trap. Emily's mind raced, calculating moves, searching for escape routes, yet the fear sharpened her senses. They ran past abandoned classrooms, the smell of wet paper and mildew in the air. Rainwater dripped from ceilings, puddles forming obstacles. The pranksters' laughter echoed from impossible directions. Emily's heart pounded. Each step brought another thrill of terror and awareness. They darted through tunnels beneath the campus, dark and narrow. Shadows moved around them, reflections from puddles creating illusions of extra pursuers. Emily's companion stumbled, but she steadied them. Together, they pressed forward, adrenaline and terror propelling them past collapsing doors and shattered windows. The storm intensified, lightning slicing the sky, rain hammering on every surface. The campus that had once felt familiar was now a labyrinth of fear. Every sound, every drop of water, every whispered echo magnified the threat. Finally, they reached the library steps. Emily collapsed, drenched and exhausted. Her reluctant ally vanished quietly. She drew deep breaths, heart still racing. She had survived, but she would never feel safe on this campus again. Weeks later, she tried to resume normal life. Rainstorms brought memories of twisted corridors, shadows, and laughter. Even familiar places triggered recollections of that night. Months later, Emily walked alone across the campus. Rain fell softly, whispering secrets through trees. Near the clock tower, she heard it, a faint, familiar laugh on the wind. She froze, whispering, "Not tonight." But she knew deep down, the laughter would return. Some games never end. Some refuse to stop. Thank you for listening to Bloody Chapter. Remember, the shadows always linger, and some laughter never dies.